Our story begins on the desert planet of Tatooine, where twin suns burn relentlessly over endless dunes. The wind howls through Mos Eisley, kicking up clouds of sand that sting the faces of smugglers, bounty hunters, and traders crowding the spaceport. Amid the chaos, a small hooded figure moves through the shadows of a cantina alley, his crimson skin barely visible beneath tattered robes. This is Zarin, the son of Darth Maul, a young Zabrak whose existence is a secret buried deep in the galaxy's darkest corners. Barely 20, Zarin carries the weight of his father's legacy, a legacy of rage, betrayal, and the Sith. Yet within him burns a spark of something else, something he cannot name, a pull toward a path he does not understand. His yellow eyes, inherited from Maul, flicker with unease as he scans the crowd, searching for answers to questions he dares not voice. Zarin's life has been one of survival. Raised in hiding by a loyal Mandalorian clan after Maul's death on Tatooine at the hands of Obi-Wan Kenobi, Zarin knows little of his father's past beyond whispered tales of a warrior who defied both Jedi and Sith. The Mandalorians taught him to fight, to wield a blade with precision, but they could not quell the storm within him. The dark side calls to Zarin, whispering of power, of vengeance for a father he never knew. Yet, in his dreams, a green blade hums softly, and a small, ancient figure speaks of balance. These visions haunt him, pulling him toward a destiny he fears. He has come to Mos Eisley chasing rumors of a Jedi, a name spoken in hushed tones. Yoda. If the stories are true, the Jedi Master survived the Purge and hides somewhere in the galaxy. Zarin believes Yoda holds the key to understanding the force that rages within him, but finding a Jedi in a galaxy ruled by the Empire is a dangerous gamble. Inside the cantina, Zarin slips into a corner booth, his hand resting on the hilt of a vibro-blade hidden beneath his cloak. The air is thick with the stench of spice and stale ale, and the band's discordant notes barely drown out the murmurs of deals gone wrong. His gaze locks onto a familiar figure at the bar, Obi-Wan Kenobi, older now, his beard streaked with gray, but unmistakable. Obi-Wan, cloaked in anonymity, sips a drink, his eyes scanning the room with the instincts of a hunted man. Zarin's heart races. This is the man who killed his father, the Jedi who severed Maul's legacy. Hatred surges within Zarin, urging him to draw his blade, to end Kenobi here and now. But something holds him back, a whisper of doubt, a flicker of the light that refuses to die. Obi-Wan's presence is no coincidence. Zarin has heard whispers that Kenobi is hunting bounties, tracking Imperial agents to protect a secret even the galaxy's scum dare not name. Could Kenobi lead him to Yoda? Or is this a trap set by the dark side to test his resolve? Zarin's inner turmoil is a battlefield. The dark side promises strength, a chance to reclaim his father's power and burn the galaxy that abandoned him. Yet the visions of Yoda speak of peace, of a purpose beyond vengeance. He clenches his fists, torn between the urge to confront Kenobi and the need to follow his quest for the Jedi Master. The Mandalorians warned him of the Empire's Inquisitors, who hunt Force-sensitive beings like him. If Zarin reveals his power, he risks drawing their attention. But staying hidden means living in fear, a coward's life he cannot accept. His father's blood demands action, but his heart seeks something more. As he watches Kenobi slip out of the cantina, Zarin makes his choice. He will follow the Jedi, not to kill him, not yet, but to uncover the truth. The path to Yoda, and to his own soul, begins here. Outside, the suns dip low, casting long shadows across Mos Eisley's streets. Obi-Wan moves swiftly, his cloak billowing as he ducks into an alley. Zarin trails at a distance, his Zabrak senses sharp, catching the faint hum of a lightsaber hilt beneath Kenobi's robes. The Jedi is no ordinary bounty hunter. Whispers in the cantina spoke of Kenobi tracking an Imperial officer, a man tied to the Emperor's inner circle. Zarin wonders what drives a Jedi to such a dangerous game. Is Kenobi protecting someone or seeking redemption for sins Zarin cannot fathom? The thought stirs a pang of curiosity, a crack in the wall of hatred he has built. If Kenobi is hunting Imperials, perhaps their paths align, if only for a moment. But trust is a luxury Zarin cannot afford, not when the dark side whispers of betrayal at every turn. The alley opens into a bustling market, where merchants hawk droid parts and stolen blasters. Zarin's eyes narrow as he spots a shadow tailing Kenobi, a figure in black armor, an Imperial probe droid humming at its side. The Inquisitors have found Kenobi, or perhaps Zarin himself. His pulse quickens. The dark side urges him to strike, to unleash the power he has kept hidden. But the memory of Yoda's voice, calm and steady, holds him back. He cannot afford a mistake now, not when he is so close to answers. Kenobi vanishes into the crowd, and Zarin hesitates, torn between following the Jedi and confronting the Inquisitor. The choice is made for him as the probe droid's red eye locks onto him, its sensors whirring. Zarin bolts, weaving through the market, his heart pounding with the thrill of the chase. The galaxy is closing in, and Zarin, son of Maul, stands at the edge of a path that could lead to salvation, or destruction. The pursuit spills into Mos Eisley's outskirts, where derelict ships rust under the desert sky. Zarin ducks behind a wrecked landspeeder, his breath ragged. The probe droid hovers closer, its scanners sweeping the area. Kenobi is nowhere in sight, but Zarin feels the Jedi's presence, a steady pulse in the Force. The Inquisitor, a towering figure with a red-bladed lightsaber, steps into view, his voice a low growl as he commands the droid to tighten its search. Zarin's hand tightens on his vibroblade, but he knows it is no match for a lightsaber. The dark side screams for him to fight, to prove his strength, but the light within him begs for patience. He closes his eyes, reaching out with the Force, and feels a flicker of guidance, a path through the chaos. When he opens them, the Inquisitor is gone, and the droid lies in pieces, its circuits sparking. Kenobi stands over it, his lightsaber unlit but ready. Their eyes meet for a fleeting moment, and Zarin sees not hatred, but sorrow in the Jedi's gaze. Before Zarin can speak, Kenobi vanishes into the dunes, leaving only questions in his wake. Zarin stands alone, the wind howling around him. The encounter has shaken him, stirring memories of his father's tales of betrayal and loss. Kenobi spared him, but why? Was it pity, or does the Jedi know more about Zarin than he realizes? The pull toward Yoda grows stronger, a beacon in the storm of his soul. But the path is fraught with danger, Inquisitors, Imperials, and the ever-present lure of the dark side. Zarin's quest for the Jedi Master is no longer just about answers. It is about survival, about choosing who he will become. As he sets out into the desert, following the faint trail Kenobi left, Zarin feels the weight of his father's legacy and the hope of a different future. The galaxy watches, and the Force hums with the promise of a story yet to unfold. Zarin's journey takes him from Tatooine's scorching dunes to the glittering spires of Coruscant, the heart of the Galactic Empire. The city-planet pulses with life, its skies choked with speeders and its underlevels crawling with those who thrive in shadow. Zarin, cloaked in a stolen Imperial technician's uniform, moves through the lower districts, his crimson skin hidden beneath a hood. The Force guides him, a faint thread pulling him toward answers, but the dark side claws at his resolve, whispering of power and vengeance. His encounter with Obi-Wan Kenobi on Tatooine left him shaken. Kenobi's sorrowful gaze, The unspoken weight of their shared history haunts him. Zarin knows Kenobi is key to finding Yoda, but trusting the man who killed his father feels like a betrayal of Maul's blood. The Zabrak's heart is a battlefield, torn between the light he seeks and the darkness he cannot escape. In a grimy cantina in Coruscant's Uskru district, Zarin picks up a lead. Whispers among smugglers speak of a Jedi hiding in the Outer Rim, a green-skinned master who evades even the Emperor's inquisitors. The name Yoda is never spoken, but Zarin feels the truth in the Force. The smuggler, a nervous Twi'lek, mentions a bounty hunter who knows more, a man called Ben, last seen tracking an Imperial officer in the Senate district. Zarin's pulse quickens. Ben can only be Kenobi, still playing his dangerous game of cat and mouse with the Empire. The Zabrak slips out, blending into the neon-lit crowds, but the dark side stirs within him, urging him to confront Kenobi, to demand answers with blood. He forces the impulse down, focusing on his mission. Yoda is his goal, not vengeance, at least, not yet. The Senate district looms above, its towering structures a monument to the Republic's fall. Zarin scales a maintenance shaft, his Mandalorian training making light work of the climb. From a shattered viewport, he spots Kenobi, moving stealthily through a restricted corridor. The Jedi's lightsaber is hidden, but his posture betrays a warrior's readiness. Kenobi is tailing an Imperial officer, a gaunt man with a datachron clutched to his chest. Zarin's senses sharpen as he feels a ripple in the Force. An Inquisitor is near. The dark side surges, tempting him to intervene, to prove his strength. But the memory of Yoda's voice, calm and steady, anchors him. He follows at a distance, watching as Kenobi slips into an archive chamber. The officer, unaware, activates a hollow terminal, revealing encrypted files marked Jedi Survivors. Zarin's breath catches. This is no ordinary bounty hunt. Kenobi is hunting information that could lead to Yoda. Before Zarin can act, the chamber erupts in chaos. The second sister, an Inquisitor clad in black, drops from the ceiling, her double-bladed lightsaber igniting with a crimson hiss. Kenobi's blue blade meets hers in a flash, sparks flying as the two duel through the archive. The officer flees, datachron in hand, and Zarin hesitates, torn between aiding Kenobi and pursuing the files. The dark side screams for violence, but Zarin chooses the mission. He sprints after the officer, weaving through Coruscant's labyrinthine corridors. The chase spills into a speeder dock, where the officer leaps into a waiting craft. Zarin, fueled by desperation, hurls himself onto the speeder's hull, clinging to its frame as it rockets into the city's traffic lanes. The wind tears at him, but his Zabrak strength holds firm. He smashes through the canopy, wrestling the datachron free as the officer screams. The speeder spirals, crashing into an abandoned platform. Zarin stumbles from the wreckage, datachron in hand, but the officer's blaster grazes his shoulder. Pain sears through him, and the dark side roars, urging him to kill. He raises his vibroblade, but Kenobi's face flashes in his mind, sorrow, not hatred. Zarin spares the officer, vanishing into the Undercity as alarms blare. The datachron's files point to Felucia, a jungle planet teeming with life and danger. Zarin secures passage on a smuggler's freighter, his wound bandaged but his soul raw. The fight on Coruscant has left him rattled. Sparing the officer felt right, but weak. The dark side mocks his hesitation, whispering of Maul's unrelenting strength. Zarin's dreams are plagued by visions of his father, eyes blazing yellow, demanding he embrace his legacy. Yet Yoda's presence lingers, a quiet promise of redemption. On Felucia, the air is thick with humidity, and towering fungi cast eerie shadows. Zarin treks through the jungle, guided by the datachron's coordinates. The Force hums with life, but also with menace. Felucia is a place where the dark side thrives. He senses Kenobi's trail, faint, but unmistakable. The Jedi was here, searching for the same truth. Zarin wonders what drives Kenobi to risk everything. Is it guilt for Maul's death? Or a deeper secret tied to the boy the Cantina whispers spoke of? A child Kenobi protects in exile. Deep in the jungle, Zarin finds a ruined Jedi outpost, its walls overgrown with vines. Inside, he discovers holocrons, their glow dim but alive. One projects a message from Yoda, recorded before the Purge. To those who seek me, trust the Force. On Dagobah, I wait. Zarin's heart leaps, but the moment is shattered as the fifth brother, another Inquisitor, emerges from the shadows. His lightsaber ignites, and Zarin, armed only with his vibroblade, dives for cover. The duel is brutal, the Inquisitor's strength overwhelming. Zarin's Mandalorian training keeps him alive, but his wound slows him. The dark side surges, offering power to survive. In desperation, Zarin unleashes a force push, sending the Inquisitor crashing into a fungal spire. The structure collapses, burying the fifth brother in rubble. Zarin staggers away, shaken by the power he tapped into. The dark side feels too natural, too much like his father. He clutches the holocron, its message his only anchor. Felucia's dangers force Zarin to move quickly. He steals an Imperial shuttle, setting course for Dathomir, the planet of his father's birth. The Datacron hinted at a Night Sister relic tied to Yoda's survival, and Zarin hopes it will confirm the Jedi Master's location. Dathomir's red skies and twisted spires unsettle him, stirring memories of Maul's tales of betrayal. The dark side is strong here, feeding Zarin's doubts. He treks through haunted forests, guided by the Force, until he reaches a Night Sister shrine. Inside, a spectral figure appears, Mother Talzin, or an echo of her. The spirit speaks of Maul's pain, of a son destined to rise or fall. Zarin's anger flares, but Talzin's words cut deeper. Seek Yoda, but beware the shadow within. Before he can respond, the shrine trembles, and Kenobi steps from the darkness, his lightsaber unlit. The Jedi tracked the same relic, his own mission intersecting with Zarin's. Their eyes lock, and Zarin's hand twitches toward his blade. The dark side screams for blood, but Kenobi's voice is steady, offering a warning. The Empire closes in. Choose your path, young one. The moment is broken as Imperial probe droids swarm the shrine, their blasters blazing. Zarin and Kenobi fight back to back, an uneasy alliance born of necessity. Zarin's vibroblade slices through droids, while Kenobi's lightsaber carves a path to escape. The relic, a crystal pulsing with Night Sister magic, falls into Zarin's hands. As they flee, Kenobi reveals a fragment of truth. Yoda lives, but finding him risks exposing the Jedi's last hope. Zarin's heart races. Kenobi knows more than he admits. The Jedi vanishes into the forest, leaving Zarin with the crystal and a choice. The dark side urges him to hunt Kenobi, to force answers, but the holocron's message echoes, trust the Force. Zarin boards his shuttle, setting course for Dagobah. The crystal hums in his grip, its power tempting, but Yoda's promise holds him steady, for now. Zarin's soul is a storm. Each step toward Yoda pulls him closer to the light, but the dark side grows louder, fed by Dathomir's echoes and his own doubts. Kenobi's presence complicates everything. The Jedi's sorrow, his unspoken guilt, gnaws at Zarin. Is Kenobi a guide or a foe? The bounty hunter's life Kenobi leads, tracking Imperials, protecting secrets, hints at a larger purpose, one Zarin cannot yet grasp. The galaxy tightens its grip, with Inquisitors on his trail and the Empire's shadow looming. Zarin knows his path to Yoda will test every ounce of his will. As his shuttle jumps to hyperspace, the stars blur, and Zarin feels the weight of his father's legacy and the fragile hope of redemption. The Force hums, and Dagobah waits. The stars blur as Zarin and Yoda's A-Wing streaks through hyperspace, fleeing Mustafar's fiery chaos. Zarin's hands tremble on the controls, his shoulder wound pulsing with pain, but it is his soul that aches most. The duel with the Grand Inquisitor on Mustafar's lava cliffs forced him to confront the dark side's seductive power, a shadow that mirrors his father's fall. Yoda, seated beside him, radiates calm, but his silence carries weight. The Jedi Master's training has forged Zarin into a warrior of light, yet the Zabrak feels the fragility of his resolve. The Force hums with purpose, guiding them to a final reckoning. Zarin knows the galaxy watches, and his choices will shape not just his fate, but the hope of a new dawn. Their destination is Alderaan, a planet of rolling hills and gleaming cities, a beacon of peace in an empire-choked galaxy. Zarin's heart races as the A-Wing descends through Alderaan's clouds, landing in a hidden valley far from the capital. Yoda reveals their purpose, a secret meeting with Bail Organa, a senator who harbors Jedi survivors and plots rebellion against the Emperor. Zarin's mind reels. His quest for Yoda has led him to the heart of a resistance he never imagined. The valley is guarded by Alderaanian troops, their blasters trained on the newcomers until Bail Organa emerges, his presence commanding yet warm. Beside him stands Obi-Wan Kenobi, his graying beard framing eyes heavy with sacrifice. Zarin's breath catches. Kenobi, the man who killed Maul, is no longer just a specter of vengeance. He is a guardian of hope, protecting a child Zarin now knows is Luke Skywalker, the boy whispered about in Tatooine's cantinas. The meeting unfolds in a concealed bunker, its walls lined with holomaps and encrypted comms. Bail Organa speaks of a growing rebellion, fueled by worlds weary of the Empire's tyranny. Yoda confirms Zarin's role. His survival, his training, makes him a symbol, a Jedi born of Sith blood, proof that redemption is possible. Zarin's chest tightens. The weight of his father's legacy, once a chain, is now a mantle he must bear. Kenobi's gaze meets his, and Zarin sees not judgment, but understanding. The Jedi reveals his own burden, years spent hunting Imperial agents to protect Luke, a boy destined to restore balance. Kenobi's bounty hunting was a cover, a desperate bid to keep the Empire's eyes from Tatooine. Zarin's hatred softens, replaced by a grudging respect. Kenobi's sacrifice mirrors his own struggle, to choose light over darkness, duty over vengeance. The bunker trembles as alarms blare. Imperial forces, led by Darth Vader himself, have tracked Yoda's presence to Alderaan. Zarin's pulse races. Vader, the Emperor's enforcer, is a force of destruction even Maul feared. Yoda's eyes narrow, sensing the dark side's approach. Bail Organa orders an evacuation, but Zarin knows there is no running from Vader. The Force demands a stand. Yoda, Kenobi, and Zarin race to the valley's edge, where TIE fighters scream overhead, their lasers carving through the forest. Vader's shuttle lands, its ramp lowering to reveal the black-armored Sith Lord, his red lightsaber igniting with a menacing hum. Zarin feels the dark side's pull, stronger than ever, as Vader's presence awakens memories of Maul's rage. Yoda steps forward, his green blade ready, but Zarin knows this fight is his. The Zabrak ignites his training saber, its blue glow a defiant answer to Vader's crimson. The battle in Alderaan's valley is a clash of titans. Vader moves like a storm, his saber strikes shattering trees and sending Zarin tumbling. Yoda weaves through the chaos, his small form a blur, deflecting Vader's blows with uncanny precision. Kenobi flanks the Sith Lord, his blade meeting Vader's in a shower of sparks. Zarin fights with everything Yoda taught him, his movements fluid yet strained by the dark side's whispers. Vader's voice, mechanical and cold, taunts Zarin, calling him a pretender, a weak echo of Maul. The words cut deep, and Zarin's anger flares, his eyes flickering yellow. He lands a desperate strike, scarring Vader's armor, but the Sith Lord counters with a forced choke, lifting Zarin off the ground. Pain consumes him, and the dark side offers salvation, power to end Vader, to claim his father's legacy. Zarin's hand twitches toward the darkness, but Yoda's voice pierces the haze. Stronger than this, you are. To defeat Vader, Zarin risks becoming him, a slave to the dark side. He sees Kenobi's sacrifice, Yoda's faith, and chooses the light. Releasing his anger, Zarin breaks free of the choke, landing beside Yoda. The Jedi Master unleashes a force wave, staggering Vader, but the Sith Lord recovers, hurling Kenobi into a boulder. Zarin dives to protect his mentor, his saber deflecting Vader's strike. The valley burns, Imperial reinforcements closing in. Bail Organa's troops hold the line, but the cost is heavy. Blasters fall silent as soldiers perish. Zarin's heart aches, but he fights on, guided by Yoda's calm. The turning point comes unexpectedly. R2-D2, the loyal astromech droid, rolls from the bunker, projecting a hologram of Luke Skywalker, a child unaware of his destiny. Vader freezes, his saber lowering, the sight of his son piercing the dark side's grip. Zarin seizes the moment, disarming Vader with a precise strike, sending the red blade into the grass. Vader's defeat is not the end. The Sith Lord retreats, his shuttle vanishing into the sky, but the cost is steep. Yoda, exhausted from the battle, collapses, his small body trembling. Zarin kneels beside him, desperation rising. The Jedi Master's eyes are gentle, his voice weak. Trained you, I have. Balance, you must bring. Yoda's breath fades, his body dissolving into the Force, leaving only his robes. Zarin's grief is a tidal wave, but Kenobi's hand on his shoulder anchors him. The Jedi's sorrow mirrors his own, a shared loss binding them. Bail Organa emerges, his face etched with resolve. The rebellion survives, but Alderaan's exposure risks Imperial retaliation. Zarin knows his path is clear. He must honor Yoda's sacrifice, becoming the Jedi his mentor believed in. The galaxy shifts in the wake of Alderaan's battle. Bail Organa, with Zarin and Kenobi's aid, leaks evidence of Vader's defeat to the Holonet, sparking hope across oppressed worlds. Zarin, now a Jedi Knight, travels with Kenobi to Tatooine, where Luke Skywalker grows under the twin suns. The Zabrek stands before Maul's grave, a simple stone in the desert, and lays down his vibroblade, a final farewell to his father's rage. The dark side no longer whispers. Zarin's light, forged in loss, shines steady. Kenobi, his bounty-hunting days over, vows to guide Luke, but entrusts Zarin with a mission: to rally Jedi survivors, to rebuild the Order as guardians of peace, not soldiers of war. Zarin accepts, his heart heavy with Yoda's loss, but lifted by purpose. On Coruscant, the Senate stirs, whispers of rebellion growing louder. Bail Organa and Mon Mothma draft reforms, limiting the Emperor's power, while Zarin's story, a Sith son turned Jedi, spreads, inspiring worlds to resist. The Empire falters, its Inquisitors fractured without Vader's iron grip. Zarin's journey, once a solitary quest, becomes a beacon, proving that even the darkest legacy can birth light. R2-D2, ever faithful, carries Yoda's final holocron to the rebellion, its message of hope echoing across the stars. The galaxy is not yet free, but Zarin's sacrifice, and Yoda's, plants the seeds of change. As Zarin gazes at Tatooine's suns, he feels the Force, balanced within him, and knows Maul's son has found his place. And folks, that's our story. Man, this one was a ride. I loved diving into Zarin, this kid carrying Maul's shadow but chasing Yoda's light. Writing his struggle felt so raw, especially that moment on Mustafar where he nearly falls. Yoda's death hit me hard. I didn't want to let him go, but it felt right for Zaren's arc. Obi-Wan's bounty-hunting twist was inspired by those gritty vibes in The Book of Boba Fett, and R2-D2 popping in at the end? Pure nostalgia. Had to do it. I'm curious what you think. Did Zaren's redemption land for you? Should I explore more of Luke's role next time? Drop your thoughts below, hit that like button, and let me know what Star Wars What If you want next. Thanks for sticking with this one, and I'll see you in the next video.